Hello everybody, Irish Wood, musically optimistic here, and today I'm going to be counting down my top 50 favorite albums of the 2020s so far, in my opinion. The 2020s have been pretty fucking good so far, last year especially, and since I've done a year-end list for every year, to varying lengths, I decided I'll go through and I'll list my favorite records of the decade thus far, and just give like a brief overview of them. So yeah, starting off the list, number 50, Arm & Hammer, We Buy Diabetic Test Strips. This one ranked pretty high on my 2023 year-end list, and yeah, it's still pretty good. It has grown off me a little bit, because I do think Elucid's performances are much less enjoyable than Billy Wood's, but this is a pretty damn good abstract hip-hop and experimental record from the duo, and I really hope to see more in this direction from them, because I've liked their other stuff, but this is just on another fucking level. Number 49, Sugaros Ada. I think that's how it's pronounced. I'm probably wrong. I did actually cover this one on my year-end list in 2023, but I really do like it, and I've come around on it pretty recently. It's just such a beautiful, enveloping, engrossing, magnificent, giant record. Like, pretty much all the tracks on here sound pretty uniform. You're not going to get a whole lot of diversity in sound or like sound palette. It's pretty much just orchestral things with like a very gorgeous, long, drawn out vocal over it. But it's pretty damn good for the time that it runs for, and I really did enjoy pretty much every moment from it. This thing is just utter beauty from front to back, and I really can't recommend it enough. Number 48, Amitai Snow with Red Earth. This is yet another brief little package of abstract and experimental hip-hop brilliance, and this one deals with a lot more environmentalism, a lot more like apocalyptic themes, and the sound of this can just be a nightmare at some points with harsh noise, these vocals that just overwhelm you because they just stack and stack and stack and stack. And then the rapid fire flows on this just blow your fucking mind. This is also one of the few very, very underground releases on this list that you should check out, which there are a few more of, but this one in particular is one that I think will get overlooked because it's this low in the list. But I do want to emphasize, all these albums are at least like decent 9s out of 10s. Like, these are all records that I fucking love. Number 47, Phoebe Bridgers, Punisher. Yeah, this record is phenomenal. I don't come back the most to it just because its overwhelming emotional impact can be a bit much sometimes, and I haven't come back to it at all as of late because I've had a lot going on. But yeah, whenever I do listen to it, it's just crushing, it's beautiful, it's moving, and even the more upbeat tracks like Kyoto or Chinese Satellite are some of the most impactful on the record and just are really damn good from front to back. Number 46, Little Sims, Sometimes I Might Be Introvert. Not really a surprising pick for a list like this, as this is one of the better hip-hop records of the decade, but like, it's great and it's beloved for a reason, because the honesty on display here, the instrumentals on display, the performances from Sims is absolutely mind-bending. It's kind of a toss-up between this one and Gray Area for me, for which one is her best. But hopefully a record will come in the future that will just best both of them, because I do think this is pretty damn phenomenal and one of the better records of the decade, but it does have some room to improve. It is a little long, so it's kind of like a daunting listen whenever I put it on, but whenever I do, I pretty much enjoy almost all of it. Number 45, Jack White with No Name. You'll probably notice that not all years are equal on this list, because there's more representation from 2024 than any other year, but that's just because 2024 was such a good year. Not that there's not representation from other years, because there definitely is, but some years are more scant than others. But it's like 2024 had great album after great album after great album, and this Jack White record is no different. It's one of the few records that I could pretty much classify as blues rock that like I fucking love, because I haven't checked out a whole lot in the style, but what I have checked out is like, it's fine. It's not of my generation, but this thing is pretty much like the record for that of my generation so far. The riffs are incredible, the vocals are incredible, and the anti-religious themes and the societal critiques are just hard-hitting. Number 44, Viagra Boys, Cave World. This is an album that actually took a while to grow on me, because the more lo-fi production on the back half of the record really did not stick with me, as tracks like Troglodyte and Baby Criminal were such high-gloss, high-finished tracks that I was like, why isn't the rest of the record like this? Why does the recording quality just drop off into shit on tracks like I'm a big boy? But as I've come around to the recording quality and fidelity of those later tracks, it's really stuck out to me, and it's really like just such a fun, great record, and it's making fun of these fucking incel, weirdo, QAnon fucking pieces of shit. It's just doing it all so brilliantly, and it's packaged in such a tight little vessel that it's like you can listen to this in one sitting pretty succinctly, and it'll feel like it all flies by so quick, because it's just dance punk rager after dance punk rager. And the interludes too, while they're not like mind-blowing, I guess, they still connect the tracks beautifully, they still convey the themes, they still make fun of these weirdos. Number 43, Gal the Arsonist and They Mine for Our Bodies. Another super underground hip-hop release, and yeah, this is another one you should check out. The production on it, mind-bending, the fucking lyrics on it, well, they're not the clearest when they do pop up, and they're pretty clear. It's incredible. It's just an incredible listen from front to back. I love this one a whole lot more sonically than I do, like, lyrically or anything, because the sound of it is just incredible. I can understand why other people don't love the sound of it, because it is a bit rougher than Scaring the Hose, but I love it. I love this thing so much. Please check it out if you haven't already. Number 42, SZA with SOS. I decided a fun thing with this list would also to be put the year-end list rank for my original list that they appeared on with the lists here. And this one appeared kind of low. Another record from 2022 appeared really low, almost didn't make the list at all. It is pretty high. And there were other records that happened to. And I think it's just really cool to look back and see just how vastly my opinion has changed in such a short amount of time, because whenever 2029 or 2030 comes along, and assuming I'm still alive under the current regime, it'll be really interesting to look how high these things climb, because this record, I liked it at first, but it has really grown on me so much. It is such a potent display of heartbreak, of dealing with these certain feelings, of just emotion, and the grandiosity of this record cannot be understated. It's such a massive record, yet almost every track on it works so well that it's like, it doesn't really even feel that long. Number 41, Denzel Curry, Melt My Eyes, See Your Future. As I said in my Denzel Curry discography ranking, this is Denzel Curry's best in my opinion. It's his most consistent, it's his most poetic, it's his most insightful, and also track for track is its most heart-hitting. Now, every single Denzel Curry record has like one song on it that I don't care for. For this one, it's The Smell of Death, but it's only mainly down to the mix, unlike other records where it's just like an song or the idea is kind of half-baked. This one, it's mainly just because the Smell of Death is kind of mixed terribly. But other than that, this is just a really hard-hitting record. It's not like the most mind-blowing lyrically or anything, and he's not doing anything incredible rhyme scheme-wise. Like, it's pretty bare bones on that front, but just thematically and sonically, it is so rich and moving. Number 40, Billie Eilish, Happier Than Ever. With records like this, Billie Eilish has really grown to be one of my favorite pop artists in the modern day landscape, because she's just one of the most intimate, one of the most personal songwriters of the modern day, and her unique whispery vocal style is just unmatched by other contemporaries in her field, and those who even try to fucking match it usually don't even get anywhere close, because the perception of it is just whispering equals emotion, but it's like her vulnerability in the lyrics are unmatched. The breath control is incredible, and then the utter control of her pitch that her vocals have while in that whispery range is just unmatched. It's just so beautiful, it's so moving, and this record may be a bit inconsistent sonically for some. I found it really beautiful. I found it really moving. The tracks that are meant to be more moving, because there are some more hard-hitting moments, like on the back end, like Happier Than Ever, the title track, that are meant to be more raucous and more gratifying moments of depression and heartbreak and stuff. But I found the more mellower moments to be the ones where the record shines the most, because honestly, that's where Billie's strongest tracks on previous records and Hit Me Hard and Soft, these moments are the ones that hit the hardest for me, and this record is just so jam-packed full of that. Number 39, Ichiko Aoba, Windswept Adan. I think I'm pronouncing that wrong, because I saw a video of Fantano reviewing this record and he pronounced it way different, so I'm sorry if I am. But this record is beautiful. It's so beautiful. I can't wait for her new album, Luminescent Creatures, in 2025, because this one is just moving from front to back. It's not what I return to a lot, because I drive a lot, and so if I listen to it in the car, I might fall asleep, and so I can't do that, but oh my god, this thing is just so moving, it's so stunning, it's so pretty! Number 38, Sufjan Stevens with Javelin. This one didn't score the highest on my 2023 year-end list, because honestly, I thought it was really good, but there's just some tracks that weren't clicking with me. Like, half of the record would be some of the most beautiful shit that I've ever heard, like Javelin, Red Little Fox, but then other moments just didn't really click with me at all. But as I've listened more to this record and fallen in and out of depression spirals for the billionth time, this record has moved me to tears several times, like pretty much front to back. It's just such a powerful record. If you haven't listened to it already, please do. But but keep in mind, it may crush you. Number 37, Sefu, The Sword Drew Blood. Like I said before, there are instances where things have moved up, but this is one where things have moved down. I still love this record with it being on this list. I still think it's an incredible expression of heartbreak, angst, and just abstract hip-hop, experimental hip-hop wizardry. Like the combination of 808 style Kanye and just fucking Billy Wood / Makami type abstract hip-hop on this record is just mind-blowing, next level, and almost no one else would ever think to do this, and I haven't heard much else that sounds like this since. But there are some moments that have grown off of me since, and I do find it really beautiful when it's on, though. So it's like, definitely still check this out. It's still a record that I very much think you should listen to. So please listen to it. It's a record that if it ever comes up and I'm talking about it, I'm gonna tell you to listen to it because you fucking should. Number 36, Silvana Estrada Marchita. I'm definitely pronouncing that wrong. Gringo ass pronunciation. But yeah, this thing is just a moving chamber folk. I really don't know what to say about it because I don't know what's going on lyrically, unfortunately. I wish I did. I should probably learn Spanish just so I could learn songs that are on this record. But oh my god, it's so beautiful. The trumpet on some of these tracks, the more intimate recording nature of these tracks, and her voice is just soaring and next level. Number 35, Paramore, This Is Why. On this record, Paramore delivers post-punk rager after post-punk rager after dance-punk rager after, like, indie rock rager. Like, this thing just goes so hard, track for track for track. And then on the back end, when it gets more emotional with, Big Man, ooh, it's just so fucking good. It's just so moving. It's just so incredible. And the songwriting that's more topical and slightly more political based on tracks like This Is Why, The News, just very vindicating. And this thing may not be revealing anything major about the world. It may not be like the deepest political insight or anything, but it's pretty much just venting frustrations. And in a time where things are getting bad, an album where you can have these frustrations just vented for you, absolutely essential, absolutely needed, and I'm glad that Paramore is putting out shit this fucking good. Number 34, Godspeed You Black Emperor. No title as of February 13th, 2024, 28,340 dead. Unfortunately, like I said in the 2024 year-end list, that number just continues to rise with time and nothing is going to happen. In fact, current leadership is saying, hey, let's just annex the rest of them. So unfortunately, the number will only get higher and things will only get worse as we can do nothing but sit to the side and just wait. Just wait. But yeah, album is good. It's just a really depressing situation that it's about and made in light of, so it's kind of hard to talk about. Number 33. This spot is gonna piss off some people who didn't like my 2023 year list or didn't like my criticism of AGR. That will be 100 Gex with 10,000 Gex. Yeah, these guys barely made my 2023 year list. In fact, I wasn't gonna put them on there at all. I took off Black Country New Roads live album from that year just to make spot for these guys because it was a record that I gave like a 6 out of 10 when I first heard it. I thought it was like fine. It was definitely like a disappointing follow-up to the 1000 Gex because that one had such immediate hits on it, and this one was such a switch up of style, being more nu metal, being more alt metal, being more pop punk, being more alternative rock. And it's like, what happened to the hyperpop, dude? What about my silly song about stupid horses and beating up jockeys? Like, what the fuck? But as I've come back more and more to this record, yeah, it's just clicked with me so fucking hard. It's so good. It's so fun. And the nonstop spirit of the debut is here in spades. I don't know what I was thinking before, but this is incredible. I think the main issue is just that it was a little brief and I was unsure about the more interlude tracks, like $1 million. But every song in here fucking slaps. Every song on here. It's so incredible. Number 32, Caroline Polachek, Desire I Want to Turn Into You. This one is funny because I did not like this record much when I first heard it. I gave it like a 5 out of 10. But opinions change, and now it is pretty high on my decade list. Now, why is that? 2024, she released the deluxe version of this record, which made the regular version click for me as tracks like Coming with a Strawberry in the Mouth or Spring's Coming with a... whatever. And then Coma, mind-blowing shit. Like, the vocals on display there, pretty much not that different from the core record, and that's why I love the core record now, but for some reason, I needed these deluxe tracks and these, in the different framing, maybe the more atmospheric drum and bass, breakbeat type framing of that deluxe, to appreciate the core of records attributes as much as I do now. Because yeah, Bunny as a Writer is incredible, Fly to You is incredible, Billions, I loved that before, but it hit so much harder for me now, and I finally figured out what it's about. and it's something. But yeah, sometimes albums that don't click with you at first will just randomly just leach their way into your head without your consent or without you knowing about it. But just invite it, and you'll get some great fucking music out of it. Number 31, Black Tresses, Peaceful as Hell. This album can be summarized as friendship or I'm going to blow your head off. Because these records are so punchy, so loud, so distorted, so angry. Yeah, if you listen to the lyrics of them, they're so friendship oriented, they're so nice, they're so kill 'em with kindness, and it's just so fun. And the choruses on here are so sticky. The production on it, despite it being so harsh, can be so fucking brain-scratchingly good at times. Yeah, I love this record. I need to check out more Black Dresses stuff because I listened to their 2021 record, the one that came right after this. Loved that one too, although that one's not nearly as consistent, and I don't come back to it as much as I do this one. But I need to listen to their other stuff. Apparently it's not as good, but I'll see whenever I get to it. Number 30, Brittany Howard, What Now? Psychedelic Soul Bliss is the first half of this record, and then once the second half of it comes along, it starts incorporating more electronic, dance, house influences, and it's just so fucking good and invigorating. And the choruses, the vocals on here, oh my god! There's some little ambient bits like at the end of each track with like bells going off, like just ringing out tones, and it's just a nice little breather in between each track, because these things are pretty overwhelming statements of love, passion, you got the power to undo everything that I want. Number 29, Porter Robinson with Smile. This album is Owl City if they were good. I don't remember if I used that joke on my year-end list, but I'm using it now. Yeah, this thing is pretty much just indie-tronica bliss. It has such good MySpace era pop vibes on tracks like Cheerleader and Mona Lisa to some extent, and then there are other tracks on here that are just so fucking crushing. And it makes sense given the overwhelmingly depressing nature of the lyrics and fighting for happiness and fighting to stay alive, which is a thing that we can all relate to because we're human. Number 28, Jeff Rosenstock with Hell Mode. Another theme you may notice with this list is a lot of the albums are about like depression and fighting to stay alive and fighting for a better peace of mind. And that's just because that's what I feel like most of my life has been up to this point. And that's what I feel like a lot of the current modern day like people my age are going through. So it's like one of those things that's just going to resonate so hard with all of us, and it's just one of those things that your experiences fuel your music taste, that fuel your preferences and so many different things. And so me liking these sort of depressing yet vindicating and healing records very much makes sense, because this record is Hell Mode, but it's very much about trying to fix your life and become a better person throughout turmoil, struggle, and the world just putting everything on you. And as of late, I've really been needing something like this. It's not a record that I just now listened to. It landed pretty high on my 2023 year-end list, but it's just, oh my god, the shit has not been going good. That's why my upload schedule has been terrible. Number 27, Charlie XCX, Brat. Time to manic swing to just radical happiness and absolute dance ragers with this one, because this one is just such a throwback to 2000s era Y2K pop dance brilliance. And yeah, it's incredible. It's stunning. And at points, it's so moving. But, like, I'm not here for that. I'm here to have a damn good time. When I go to the club, I want to hear those club classics. And I feel like in a few years, like 10 years, assuming we're not all dead, this record will be one of those club classics. Because instantly, the moment it came out, this thing pretty much revolutionized pop, just in the mainstream. Pop had a pretty damn good year in 2024, and this record, in my opinion, is the primary reason why. And number 26, Laura Marling, Song for Our Daughter, calming way the fuck back down. This thing is just indie folk, chamber folk brilliance. I listened to Patterns and Repeat, and that one made pretty high on my year-end list last year. But going into this, because Fantano said it was like another helping, I was expecting it to be in the same vein, but no, this one had a lot more rock sensibilities on especially the first half. But the lyricism and just the songwriting, it somehow just felt a whole lot more intimate. Like, it felt a whole lot more like I'm being spoken directly to. And it just I'm getting emotional talking about it, so I'm gonna move on. It's just such a damn good record, and I wish I had put this on my year-end list in 2020, because oh my god. Moving into the top half of the list, number 25, Arco with Kick 3. This is an album I very much enjoy as a front-to-back listening experience, rather than singular tracks in between it, because its vibe, its aesthetic, its sound palette is so different from almost anything else I've heard. Like, I've heard Deconstructed Club and electronic music before, but this thing is just so glitchy, punchy, and just so out there that, like, if I hear just a random track from this, I'm probably going to be fucking skipping it. But whenever I am in the mood and I listen to this thing, I have such a good time. I feel so vindicated. And it's just such a euphoric listen, you know? Number 24, Magdalena Bay, Imaginal Disc. Now, I'll be honest, I was pretty new to the Magdalena Bay hype train in 2024. Like, I knew they put out a pretty good record in 2021, it was. But I honestly didn't listen to it because I'm not the biggest synth pop girly. But I've been coming around on it. I've been coming around on synth pop, electro pop, and diversifying my sound palette. And this thing, I wouldn't even call it synth pop. It technically kind of is. It technically is synth pop, but I would say it's more progressive in its stylings. It's more psychedelic in its stylings. And calling it a synth pop or just pop record in general can really dismiss a lot of the deeper, more sonic like intricacies compared to other things that are in the pop field, especially in 2024. Because 2024, great year for pop, but Sabrina Carpenter was there. So how great could it really be? Yeah, Magdalena Bay put out a damn good, mind-blowing, life-changing record. I mean, it didn't change my life, but it changed a lot of people's, and it's such a damn good record, and I can understand why it did for many people. Number 23, Quadeca, I Didn't Mean to Haunt You. Now, for me, it's kind of a toss-up between this one and Scrapyard, because I think they're both incredible, but I give this one the edge a bit, because despite Scrapyard having more coherent mixes and being higher fidelity all around, this one really is just crushing lyrically, and it's such a damn good concept from front to back. Its story is pretty linear, you can follow along with it. The features, when they show up, are pretty damn incredible, which I think it's literally just Danny Brown, the Sunday Service Choir, and then Thor Harris of Swans fame, the drummer or whatever. It's an album that's hard to talk about because despite it being so good, the themes of it are just so damn sad. It's just such a sad record because it's conceptually a posthumous record, but that's all I'll say if you haven't listened to it. If you have heard it, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't know, please go listen to it. Number 22, Billy Woods, Ethiops. This record came out in 2022. On my 2022 list, it ranked at number 2, and now it is ranking number 22 here. I just think that's pretty funny. Yeah, underground hip-hop's biggest event album in like the last decade, probably. It is such a big guest-heavy thing, but honestly, they all provide such damn good features. There are some that I'm not crazy about, but the performances are all great for the most part. The instrumentals are all great. Billy Woods' verses are poetic as ever. Pretty damn good record, and I can't wait to see what Billy does next. As Church was pretty good, and Maps was pretty good, although that one is probably one of my lesser of his records. It's still pretty good. He's just one of the most consistent ones of the game, and really, an okay record from him is a fantastic fucking record for like most other people. Number 21, Jessie Ware, What's Your Pleasure? This thing released in 2020, about at the start of the 80s and 70s revivalist resurgence thing that we've been seeing for the past few years, and honestly, to this day, still one of the best records that came out from that, because not only are her performances next level, but the subtle electronics and tracks like Adore You, beautiful. Absolutely accentuate the very intimate performances on here and the very, very heart-touching lyrics. Like, this isn't a thing that's gonna make you cry in the club or anything, but like, it's very much a thing that like, put it on, you love it. It's just some classic, good old-fashioned soul, disco, 80s revivalist, 70s revivalist, probably. I'm not that good at that stuff. It's just so good. Just save a kiss for me tonight. Number 20, the Koreatown Oddity, Little Dominic's Nosebleed. Yeah, this one, it's still one of the most surreal listening experiences I've ever had in music. It's not one that I come back to a whole lot because of that, because honestly, it is so weird and kind of dissociating and odd, and like, what the hell do I do with this? But it's such a unique record and its presentation, because like, you take away the more psychedelic bits of sound clips and sonic display from the instrumentation, and you get a pretty standard abstract hip-hop record. But as is, it's just so weird. It's so weird. Literally, it's so surreal. No amount of talking about it can prepare you. Just listen, and yeah. Number 19, FKA Twigs, Capra Song. This thing also placed number 19 on the year-end list that it came out on. Barely making the list at all, but now it is way up here, and here's why. When I first listened to it of January in that year, I fucking loved it, but I kind of did overplay it, so by the time the year came to a close, I was like, I probably shouldn't put it up this high. You know, other records have come out that I haven't overplayed to death. And I regret it, because this thing is phenomenal. The track for track for this thing is just so catchy, so hooky. It's probably the catchiest things Twigs has done, and it's one of my favorite things Twigs has done. But to be fair, every record of hers that I've listened to so far has been a 9 out of 10, with Magdalene being a 10 out of 10. I just love her stuff so much. Eusexua is great too, and we'll see how that ranks further into the decade, because I don't want to include any 2025 releases as the year just started, and that'd be getting a bit further than halfway through the decade. But that one could overtake this one, as this one is incredible, so fucking fun, and I don't care for a couple of the interludes in the back end, but the songs themselves, so fucking good. Number 18, JPEG Mafia LP, the offline version, obviously. And since this is coming right after FKA Twigs, I just want to say, Peggy, Twigs, please work together. You guys would be perfect. You guys have like the same aesthetic. You guys have an album named LP. Come on, it's right there. But yeah, there's really not much I can add to the discussion around this record, as it has quickly become one of the most beloved albums of the decade. I think it actually is the highest album of the 2020s thus far on Album of the Year, like by user score, and that's for good reason. It's incredible. It's fantastic. The only gripe I have with it is its runtime, as I feel like there are some tracks that reinforce ideas that have already been like established and pretty well defined on the previous tracks. But this is also an album that the more I listen to it, the more things stand out to me. Like Dikembe, the weird just drum interlude in the middle of it has just stuck out to me now. The more that I listen to it, it's just so good. There's more parts of this thing just stick out, worm your way into their head the more you listen. It's just such a weird, one-of-a-kind record, and everything Peggy puts out is pretty much phenomenal. Number 17, Parnell Sky 100. To be fair, I probably should have put After the Magic on this list, but really, both of these are incredible. I just love them for slightly different reasons. After the Magic, because its production is just so dense and tracks are so moving because of that. This one, because it's just such a grandiose, beautifully written record. I just wish to make it better. Can you release one with cleaner mixes? Album of the decade if you do that. Number 16, Chelsea Wolfe, She Reaches Out to, She Reaches Out to, She Reaches Out to. Utter beauty. That is all I can say about this thing. It is utter beauty for track to track to track to track to track. It is so haunting and moving, and the lyrics, because I've been listening more on the lyrics lately, as I've said in my 2024 listen, it clicked with me so heavier in this past half of the year. All you left behind was your exoskeleton, a spectral reminder of what you've become. Like, that crushing. That Number 15, top 15 time. This is where like an inferior list would have started, but I'm a better person now. Sampha Lahai. Sampha is always a vocalist that I've heard is next level and one of the most beautiful ones out there. But until his 2023 record here, I didn't really give him a chance. I don't know why. I was stupid. I was dumb. But since this one, it's incredible. This is also, in my opinion, one of the best piano-driven records that I've ever heard. It's just so beautiful, track for track for track. There's really not much I can say. It's just so beautiful. I hate getting up higher to this list and not having much to say, but it's like, what can I say? It's beautiful. The lyrics are moving. The flow of it from track to track is incredible. The interludes like Timepiece and Satellite Business, which was remixed into an incredible song with Little Sims, who appeared early on the list. Incredible. Like, next level shit. And I can't wait to see in 10 years what he does next, because, oh my god, this dude takes forever to drop. Number 14, Clipping. Visions of Bodies Being Burned. Easily one of the hardest hitting and most fucked up, I guess you could say, rap records of the decade, because this thing just indulges in depravity. That's pretty much the main name of the game here. It's pretty much horrorcore with a noise rap, experimental, industrial edge to it, and it's just fucking incredible. Clipping's vocalist, David Diggs, has such a one-of-a-kind delivery and flow and persona and air about him, and these pretty much just sound effect heavy instrumentals, because there's one where he's pretty much just rapping over a gate. There's another one where he's just rapping over toms, which I think is the intro track. So next level. And it's not like this is the only one where their ideas are next level, because on their self-titled 2014 record, pretty much the same idea. They have Get Up on there, which is literally just an alarm clock, Body and Blood. And I've heard a lot that this record is pretty much out of their wheelhouse, but because of tracks like Body and Blood and previous records, that are pretty much being horrorcore already, this thing just divulges in that sound, but for an entire record, and it's fucking incredible. Number 13, Black Country New Road, Ants From Up There. Like some of the records previously on this list, this is an album that I listened to during the year list that it came out for, otherwise it would have ranked pretty highly. And that's mainly because up until like 2023, like early 2023, late 2022, I wasn't listening to that much non-hip-hop stuff, which I know makes me kind of a fucking boring piece of shit, but hey, I'm better. I'm getting better. And it is sad that this is the first record I heard from Black Country New Road, as this is the last one with Isaac Wood in it. And it's, oh my God, it's crushing. Like, it's so sad. It's so moving. It's so, you could tell something was wrong. You could tell he was going through it. You could tell he was pretty much done with this record, because like he is not okay. He is not okay. Oh, God of weather, Henry knows. Snow globes don't shake on their own. Number 12, Jordy Griep, The New Sound. Look, I love Black Midi. One of my favorite bands of all time since I discovered them in 2023. In fact, they're gonna appear on this list, but they didn't appear on my 2022 list because I didn't know who the fuck they were until 2023. And so I was very much disheartened when they broke up. But luckily, pretty much immediately after, because I found out these two bits like at the same time, Jordy Griep announced a new record, and then it came out, and it's pretty much incredible. It takes the core ideas of a Black Midi record, these jazz rock avant-prog stylings, and moves it more into bossa nova, more progressive ideas, and it's just so fucking, it's just great. It's just great. It's just fucking incredible. Number 11. JID, The Forever Story. Yeah, it's no secret JID killed it on this record. For track. It's hard-hitting, pummeling. The lyrics are so moving. And the flow of this thing is just so incredible that, like, the second half of it is a lot more slowed down than the first half. The first half is where all the bangers are. And there are still some great moving tracks on the back end, like Bread and Him. But for the most part, it gets a whole lot more poetic and intimate on that back half. And the two sides complement each other so incredibly. And tracks that I wasn't that crazy about before, like Better Days, have just grown on me more with time. And this is easily one of the best hip-hop records of the decade. JID was supposed to drop Forever in a Day, like not long after. Hasn't happened, and honestly I'm kind of glad, because I don't want him to end up like Conway the Machine, who put out a fantastic fucking record and then rushed out so much more stuff to where it's just so mediocre. So thank you, JID, for taking a bit more time. Hopefully the next one is at least on par. I'll do it with on par. I'll even do it with a little worse of this, because how can you best this? I'm not sure, but it's not perfect, so I guess we'll see. Now, top 10 time. Top 10 records of the decade, in my opinion. Number 10, Reverend Kristen Michael Hayter with Saved. I loved this record when it came out. I loved it on first listen. Pretty much blew my fucking mind, and as time has passed, it has only grown on me more. I don't listen to the full experience as often as maybe some other records on here, especially the final track, as the it's so long, and its passage with the tongues coming in is just so eerie and psychedelic that it kind of weirds me out. But whenever I'm in the mood or feeling really down, I listen to it, and it pulls me out of whatever headspace I'm in, and really helps me process things, really helps me feel grounded, really helps me feel part of myself, and really just is such a fucking cleansing, purifying record, saving record, you could say. Although because of the very weird nature of this, I do feel like it may be damned to stay in relative obscurity. Because like, if you know Lingua Ignota and Reverend Kristen Michael Hayter in the more nerdy music spheres, you know about this record. But if you don't, and you're an average listener, like 90% of the people on the planet, I think, you're not going to know about this. And if you do, you're probably going to be like, what the hell is this? Why do you think I want to listen to some hymns? But yeah, it's incredible, because it's not even like it's playing the hymns very straight either. It's very much a critique, in my opinion, of these things, and portraying a character and portraying this like cult sort of thing, and her breaking out of it and this old mold and creating something new for herself in a way that it's portrayed with the different fidelities, with these old more hymns being much more rough around the edges, and these more reflective ballads like I Will Always Be With You being more clear mix-wise. It's incredible. It's next level. I really don't know what Reverend Kristen Michael Hayter can do next, or if this is just going to be a one and done thing with this persona, because I know the Lingua Ignota one is done, but honestly, I don't know where else you could take this. Also, the B-Sides record, the deluxe record or whatever that came out, Saved, the second one, really good too, really good tracks, and it even contains the recording that is sampled on the I Will Always Be With You during the intro. It also contains that, the Singing in the Rain thing. Beautiful. Number 9, Vampire Weekend, Only God Was Above Us. Truth be told, I'm pretty new to Vampire Weekend stuff. I've listened to all their stuff since this record, because this one was so good. It blew my mind. The writing on it just feels so classical. sorry. It feels like it's been around forever. It just feels like such a tried and true formula that they're doing here. So I had to listen to their previous stuff. And even then, this stuff is just so fucking next level because the recording quality, the mixed fidelities are so much more rich, sonically, texturally, everything unique. The lyrics on it, with having these more thoughtful critiques of police, of of the establishment. The writing on here would make you think that it's somewhat of a punk record, but it's just pop bliss, indie rock bliss. And the choruses, oh my god, the choruses are so fucking good. Each generation makes their own apologies. Listening to the past records of theirs, Ezra's voice is incredible as always on this one, but it's so much more aged and weary. And with the more downtrodden themes of the record, it very much fits, helps convey this weariness, this tiredness, this wanting things to be fixed and everything to be okay. It really helps to accentuate it, because without it, I feel like this would just be kind of like cosplaying these sadder elements or just using them as like thematic boost. But it really feels like he has lived through these experiences, and these are things that he has seen and he doesn't want to repeat. And it's just, oh my god, it's so fucking incredible. Number 8, JPEG Mafia and Danny Brown, Scaring the Hoes. Can you really even say that you enjoy experimental hip-hop if you haven't been inducted into the terminally online hellscape of this record? This is the modern day Money Store, with it being so catchy and so groundbreaking. Like, I don't think there's gonna be a whole lot of people copying this. Maybe some people will try, because honestly, the soundscape depicted on here, while it is very rough around the edges, is so next level and otherworldly and surreal, with the weird samples, like Garbage Pail Kids sampling an obscure Japanese fucking commercial for like cereal or something. The intro track Lean Beef Patty literally sampling a Nelly song, but it's sped up so fast that they probably didn't even have to clear the sample. They definitely did, but because he's had issues with that in the past. God Loves You being just such a grand statement of just they are like, I think the God Loves You title pretty much just comes from the sample, because it's about eating pussy, fucking doing depraved things that I don't think God would love. But honestly, that's how I would describe this record. It takes some ideas, hones in on those, and then distracts you with other ones, like the loud synths on Lean Beef Patty, the absolute weird breakbeat insanity on Step a Pig, Fentanyl Tester's Milkshake sample. Like, what is going on here? And unlike Little Dominique's Nosebleeds or other weird surreal experiences, this one is succinctly very clearly fun. Like, there's no way around it. You're going to go into this and have a good time. Either that, or it's going to be too loud and scary and you're going to shut this thing off in 30 seconds because why does it sound like this? And with this being kind of a late career thing for Danny Brown and kind of a mid-career thing for JPEG Mafia, because he's in his prime, Danny Brown is nearing the end of his. It's just such a fantastic way for both of them to continue, because it's such a high watermark for both of them, honestly. It's so fucking good. Number 7, Rina Sawayama. Now, unlike pretty much every other record in my top 10 here, this thing isn't trying to reinvent the wheel. This thing isn't trying to change the game or anything. It's pretty much just a celebration of 2000s electropop, 2010s electropop, new jack swing in the 90s, alternative metal, new metal, 2010s dubstep on the outro track. This thing is just such a weird collection of sounds, but it does it all so well, and the choruses are so well written, and the production from fucking Clarence Clarity. Oh my god. Like, I need to listen to Hold the Girl, because I've listened to Rina, her 2017 EP. That was incredible. I need to listen to Hold the Girl, because this is incredible. And I hope Hold the Girl is good too. But even if that one isn't great, I'm glad that I got this one absolutely massive, life-affirming, mind-breaking, blowing everything record. It's just so fucking incredible. Oh my god. Like, listen. Number 6, Kendrick Lamar, Mr. Morale, and the Big Steppers. Apparently people didn't like this one that much when it came out. I remember the discourse around it being very mixed and people reacting negatively, but I think that's mainly due to the internet since Damn having circled in on just hating everything new, loving everything old. Because the second G and X dropped, people were like, what happened to the Mr. Morale Kendrick? What happened to the Mr. Morale Kendrick? And honestly, I think that's one of the reasons this record stuck out to me more, is because in an era where people are just trying to give you the next fix of the last fix they gave you, just trying to hone in on previous sounds again and again and again, Kendrick again tried something new sonically sonically and as well thematically with working to drop the savior complex that he had been holding on to for years up to that point. After taking a long break to focus on himself, he realized, yes, this is what I need. I need to focus on me instead of trying to save the world through my music, which is an impossible fucking task. Because honestly, no matter what happened, I feel like the internet would have reacted negatively to this record, because the internet just does that. Your new shit can never be as good as your old shit, and I think Kendrick realized that. And so anything he put out in the future, he knew he would have to just step down. He knew he would have to just be himself. And he does that on this record beautifully. And so it's some of his best fucking songs today. Kendrick starts going more melodic on this record with tracks like Die Hard, and he continued that streak more on G and X as well. And it's incredible. His more melodic tracks on Damn were a bit iffy, and I didn't really care for some of them, like Love. But, oh my god, they're so good on this record. And then from there, even better. Number 5, Injury Reserve, By the Time I Get to Phoenix. This one is kind of hard to talk about because it's really only out in the state that it is because key member Steppa J. Groggs passed away shortly before the record's release. Most of the record was finished up to that point, but it very much feels like a large chunk of the record was taken out of this, as it very much feels like broken. Like, the instrumentals don't work how a rap instrumental should. The vocals are so glitchy and feel like a skipping CD. This thing feels like it doesn't want to be listened to, and given the circumstances it was born out of, the pandemic, the passing of key member Steppa J. Groggs, like I said, it very much doesn't feel like it wants to be listened to. It's just such a hard to listen to record. And then tracks like Top Picks for You, some of the most crushing rap songs, no, not even rap songs of the decade. Just this song about algorithms and things around you moving on despite you being gone. Assumedly being written directly for Groggs, by Richie. It's just crushing. Because, yeah, this person you love may be gone, but the world is going to continue without them, and you pretty much just have to keep going and just pretend like everything's okay, and pretend like you don't miss them, but then you turn on Netflix or YouTube or literally anything, and then you see something that you know they would have loved being recommended for you, and it's like you're still here, and it's like they think you're still here. It's crushing. All right, these top 4 records, all 10 out of 10s. I love all of them, but they are ranked in preference, obviously. And unfortunately, this next one is pretty heavy, and then after that, it's back to somewhat levity. Number 4, Lingua Ignota, Sinner Get Ready. With these lists, I usually try and limit it to 1 entry per artist, as I don't like artists having multiple spots. However, this is a different persona. This is a different arc. This is a different theme. This is a different aesthetic. This is a different everything from Reverend Kristen Michael Hader. So I feel like it's more than necessary to put this here. And also, if I wasn't putting this here, I'd be lying to myself about what moved me. This thing is so nightmarish. This thing is so fucking nightmarish. It feels like I should not be listening to it, because this thing is an expression of trauma at the hands of fucking Daughter's frontman singer Alexis Marshall, as well as religious trauma generally, which I'm sure many of us can relate to. It's not even just lyrically this album is crushing, because the intro track hits you with these very loud pianos that will scare the shit out of you. Even if you know that they're coming, they will fucking jump scare you. They're so loud, they're so scary, and there's moments on this record like that that just absolutely terrify you. Like Many Hands, or I Who Bend the Tall Grasses, where she's literally getting mad at you. Where she's like, I need you to get rid of him. I need you to do this to him. I'm not fucking asking. This thing is pain in music. This thing is just raw pain, unfiltered pain in music, and it's kind of a hard listening experience for that. It's so crushing. Number 3, Knocked Loose, You Won't Go Before You're Supposed to. If you want this album summed up in one word, that would be unrelenting. Knocked Loose take the brutality of their acclaimed Tear the Fabric of Life and polish it with tighter, louder production and earworm choruses. And that production is handily some of the best I've heard on any metal record, period, let alone the 2020s. I'm very curious to see what these guys do from here, as honestly, I don't know how you could get louder, more aggressive, more punchy, more angry, more societally critiqueful, but like what they did on this record raises the bar for intense music, raises the bar for this style in general, and I can't wait to see what comes next for these guys, because oh my god, This thing is just mind-blowing, skull-crushing, really invigorating. If I'm feeling down, I don't put this on, but if I'm feeling really good and like I feel like I could crush 10,000 planets between the palms of my hand, I put this thing on and I crush 10,000 Saturns. Number 2, Violet Pony, Girls Who Are Wizards. Now, this album was life-changing for me. It helped me come out of my shell. It helped me realize some things about myself, and now I'm on a better path and feeling a lot better in certain ways. I did lose some people who were in my life because of realizing who I am, who I've always been, like I've always known. But it's one of those things where it's like, am I really? Am I just faking it? Are these feelings real? But this record just clicked something in me. It was the last thing. It was like, no, you live your life how you want to live. Who gives a fuck? And it's kind of funny to say for just a little dance record. Like, this thing just has some grooves and some catchy-ass choruses on the back end. But the tracks are about being yourself. The tracks are about being yourself in the face of anything, living your true self, being happy, having friends, fighting battles. It's about that. And so it moved me so much so. It changed my Some may opt for Monarch of Monsters, but honestly, this is the record that clicked for me. This is the one that got me into the world of Violet Pony. This is the one that really fucking changed my life, and I love it for that. I will forever be grateful. But it just so happens to be one of the best albums of the decade, aside from that as well. So, yeah. So what could be my number 1? Because every opportunity I've gotten, I've ranted about Violet Pony. But no, that isn't my number 1. That would have to go to Black Midi with Hellfire. Had I listened to this in 2020, it would have topped my year-end list. I listened to it literally like a month or 2 later, which is really funny. Because I remember first time I listened to it, I was driving to Walmart and I put it on, and oh my god, my mind was blown. Not that I hadn't heard jazz rock or progressive rock or avant or just brutal shit before, but this thing just feels like pure insanity in a 30-something minute package. Like, this thing is brief, it breezes by, but it also feels so grandiose, massive, and like a literal hellscape of sound. Like, how an album could get more insane than this, I am not sure. Like, I know that there are some that are out there, but this one is just controlled chaos. This thing feels so calculated, so well done, so performed brilliantly. Like, oh my god. And then the writing is a bunch of these different, like, vignettes, which portray these different characters, one of which, Eat Men Eat being a captain who's very deluded, delusioned, has great delusions. This fucking insane captain basically just mad at his fucking crew for like a mutiny and all this stuff, and it's insane. Tracks like The Race Is About to Begin, oh my god, I could barely keep up. I can barely keep up. Like, this, he sounds, Jordy Greet, the vocalist on many of these tracks, I think it's just I think the only one where he's not the vocalist is Eat Men Eat. Oh my god. Like, I don't know how to put it in the words. I don't know how to put it in words. It's just, oh my god, track for track. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. There are moments that are not insane. Like, Welcome to Hell, I would say, is not very insane. Still, not very insane. And Still even ends with a very long, ambient, stretched out bit that hard cuts into a interlude, which very much helps the two sides bridge into each other as it, you know, gets a bit more insane in the back half. But yeah, this record is just so fucking incredible. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. And yeah, that is my album of the decade for right now, at least. It could probably change. It'll probably change. We still have 5 more years. This channel will hopefully be around for 5 more years. I'll hopefully be around for 5 more years. Fingers crossed. And yeah, we are so close to reaching 300 subscribers. I hope to reach 1K this year. I guess we'll see if that happens. I'm gonna be planning out a lot more videos. I need to actually get my schedule together so I can actually get this channel to hopefully be something I could be doing as a job, because I need to leave this country right now. But yeah, in the meantime, let's just have fun while we can. Let's just enjoy music while we can. That's what this channel will be. A safe place, a discussion for anything music related. I love you guys. Thank you for being here for me. Thank you for 2024. Thank you for almost getting to 300 subs. It'll probably get to 300 when I put this one out. And yeah, thank you for everything so far. That is all I have to say. Bye.